I say it's about time. Get her out of here. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Reid of MSNBC, also known as MS13DNC, potentially losing her job as early as this spring. So in a matter of weeks, she may not be on the network anymore. Now, I got to say may and possibly, and she could, because there's been no formal announcement, right? They have not announced it yet, but I can almost guarantee that it's going to happen for a variety of reasons. And before I get into the reasons, let's look at this source. This is from John Nicosia. I think he's from Mediaite. If I'm wrong about that, y'all let me know in the comments below. So let's check it out right here. And of course, I'll link to this in the description box so you can read it for yourself. But you see what it says. Source from Comcast: Reid will lose her 7 p.m. show in the next round of reshuffling, quote unquote, at MSNBC. She does not have a show come mid-spring. The decision has been made. The only thing left is messaging on the move, which would be ratings. So basically, they got to try to explain it to the public, explain it to her 10 fans that watch her whenever she comes on. Okay. Is that a daily show? I have no idea. I don't watch Reid on MSNBC. The only time I see Reid is when she's in some type of clip talking crazy, talking about Kyle Rittenhouse or Donald Trump, or what was the only thing she said? She was saying something about Republicans would trade tax cuts to say the N-word. I did a video on that, matter of fact. She always says these really crazy things that I feel like are trying to generate ratings and generate viewership, but nobody's really watching regardless, okay? The clip might make the news. It might make the YouTubes. It might be covered by a guy like me, but her viewers don't really care. You're talking about Donald Trump a year past the end of his presidency. Your viewership are worried about why their gas is $5 a gallon in California, why things are costing so much when they go to Chipotle. They got to get a bowl. It's 50% more as far as their cost. When they're trying to rent an apartment or buy a house, things are more and more expensive. They're not necessarily worried about Trump the way that you guys over at MS13DNC are, but I digress. Let's continue here. As was the case with Chris Cuomo at CNN, Reid has allies at Comcast. However, she is now viewed as, quote, unmanageable by many. Also, similar to Cuomo, it appears those allies have found out she has been, quote, less than truthful about past incidents. Okay, now let's talk about this whole past incidents, kerfuffle. Remember, a while back, she had a little incident as far as some homophobic comments on the old blog. Okay, somebody dug up some tweets from her from like 2010 or 2009, long time ago, right? They dug up some tweets and it was real, I guess, anti-gay. I forgot what they said exactly, but that was a big problem. And she said, oh, I was hacked. It wasn't me. But then they dug up evidence to prove that she wasn't hacked. It was her. She put it on the blog and on the Twitter. So it's her. She said it. Okay. So that's probably what they're talking about right there. See, one thing you can't do is criticize the LGBTQ LMNOP community if you're over on the left. If you are a strong leftist person on a strong leftist network, you can't do that. It doesn't matter if you say something 40 years ago, 5 years ago, or yesterday. It's all the same in their eyes, because these people judge others based on that. Okay, they're digging up old Kevin Hart tweets and using that against them, and they're making these guys apologize to the LGBT community, putting them in the dress, parading them around, embarrassing them. So you guys do that to regular everyday people or even celebrities that are trying to just get money and take care of the family, take care of themselves. You guys do that to them as far as the mainstream media. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword. The same thing that you do to others will come against you if you have that skeleton in your closet. So that's probably part of what's happening right here. She said some LGBT things. Now it's come back and bite her in the hind parts, right? And then as far as the whole quote unquote unmanageable thing, that's going to be seen as racist. And you know why? Because she black, and they're going to say, oh, you're trying to say that Reid's an angry black woman, all this, that, and the third. Well, hey, I'm not the kind of guy to just stereotype everybody, but if the shoe fits, you got to wear that. Don't try to say, oh, it's racism and they're trying to attack me because of my race. No, no, no. And also, you can't say that you're against racial stereotypes when you stereotype the white man every single day on your show. Again, when you live by the sword, you got to die by that. They say that they're not racist and they're so equal on MS-13DNC, but the reality is they're not. And they show you how they're not equal. They're not all about trying to uplift the black man and the brown man when they put you on the unemployment line. But let's move on. Also, like Cuomo at CNN, watch for MSNBC Comcast to defend her right until the announcement. So basically, they're going to defend her and say, oh, we love Joy Reid. She's a great part of our community and we want her to stay and all this and that. They'll do that to save face, to make it seem like this has not been in the works for months. This has not been a thing they've been trying to do for a long time. And then they go ahead and fire her, allegedly, possibly, potentially. Okay. We've seen these kind of things happen before where somebody would call it, like a trusted source will call it, and then it happens. So I think this is pretty much set in stone, but I can't say that for certain with 100% certainty. But let's move on. I had the scoop last year. This is the guy talking. I had the scoop last year. Chris Cuomo was going to get axed by CNN. Then after he was suspended, got the scoop that he was not coming back. I got very few personal attacks from his fans. Joy Reid's fans, however, Lord, facepalm. Yeah, I can imagine because, again, it's about this whole racism thing. And there's probably not too many black folks that are attacking you. There's probably a lot of white liberals that they want to champion Joy Reid because she's black and nothing else. I mean, if you're judging her based upon her ability to be a journalist and to be non-partial, I mean, you can't say that she's like some type of spectacular person, okay? I'm not even a Don Lemon fan, but I would pick him over her as far as being a journalist, 1,000%. They're both trash, in my opinion. All these guys, the whole MSNBC, in my opinion, is trash. I don't care what color you are. You can be black, white, Puerto Rican, Kenyan stripe. They're all trash, in my humble opinion. CNN, MS-13DNC, ABC, they're all pretty much the same in my humble opinion. But some are better than others, okay? Joe and Mika on MSNBC, they're better than Joy Reid. Pretty much everybody over there. Rachel, that's her name, Maddow, better than Joy Reid. And by the way, is she still there, Rachel Maddow? I've not watched them in a while, so pardon my ignorance, but we'll continue. As I tweeted in November, executives have been contemplating a change for months, but not until recently has a decision been made. So this has been a thing that's been going on for a while. You tweeted the same thing back in November of 2021. So it's been going on for a while. And I believe I said something about this back then. I'm not sure if I did a video, if I spoke about it on a live show or whatever, but it's been going on for a long time. Maybe they were trying to figure out a way to get them ratings up, to increase interest, to do something with Joy Reid, fix her hairstyle, something, but it's not working. Nobody watches it. The show sucks. Okay. And here's the quote unquote homophobic controversy in question. And I think that's pretty much the end of that particular thread. Again, this is from John Nicosia, and this tweet will be in the description box right below the video in my article. But you see what's going on there. I mean, people aren't really watching the show, in my opinion. I think it's about low ratings. Nobody's watching. She tries to go viral, and sometimes she does, to be honest. Sometimes she does go viral, but it's not enough to really gain an audience. You see, she's trying to be like a YouTuber to a certain extent, but without a YouTube presence, without being like on a platform, being able to interact with people. You got to do that. You got to kind of be interactive. If you're not doing live shows, you got to be reading comments, talking to people. You can't just have this old school kind of setup on MSNBC and expect to have success. And quite frankly, I don't believe she would do well going the independent route either, because what about Joy Reid would compel you to watch her just on regular YouTube? Why would you watch her? For what? Because really, when you go to YouTube, a lot of your bigger your streamers and your content creators aren't leftists. You have some, but not necessarily. And even if they are leftists, they got to have some kind of flexibility. They can't just be 100% one way all the time. You got to have a little spice in there to make it interesting. Joy Reid does not have that. That's why her show is not working on MSNBC. You have the golden opportunity. You're in front of millions of people on an established network. You got plenty of money behind you. You can't make it work. You can't do it. So how are you going to come off of that platform, go to a platform where you got to do everything yourself, where it's probably not any cash behind you. You're shooting, you're editing. How are you going to make that really work? You're trying to have your foot in both places, and it's simply not working. So yeah, shout out to her for losing her job, potentially, allegedly. I think she definitely deserves it. And I think, quite frankly, the whole MSNBC needs to do an overhaul, okay? Do an overhaul. You can keep Joe and Mika Brzezinski. You can keep them, for sure. They're okay. They're leftists, of course, but they're not as bad as Joy Reid, in my opinion. Have them go a little bit to the center, okay? Bring us some other moderate people and be open with how you're operating. You know, don't try to say, oh, we are a trusted news source, we're neutral, but then still have a bunch of leftist stuff. If you're going to say you're neutral, be right in the center. That's fine, because some may not want the conservative spin all the time, which is what Fox News kind of had before, but that's a different story. Anyway, have it kind of like right down the middle rather than this far left stuff. That's not selling anymore, okay? You can't really attack Trump every day. January 6th is becoming further and further a distant part of our memory. So what are you going to talk about? And talk about how good of a job Joe Biden is doing? Obviously, he's not doing a good job. You can't sit there and lie every day necessarily, because at a certain point, your audience, they're going to escape their basement, take off their face shield and triple masks, and they're going to be like, yo, my booster is not working. My 18th booster is not working. I done got sick, and I looked up one day out of my quarantine, and eggs are 80% more, beef is 60% more. What's going on? They're not going to get answers from you. So yeah, shout out to the whole MS-13 DNC. I say close the whole thing down, but it's a good start by giving Joy Reid the proverbial axe. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about Joy Reid potentially being fired from MSNBC? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I'm at. This is a good start for the network, but they have a long way to go. This is like a home reno, right? You got to renovate the entire house down to the studs. You got the kitchen started as far as the demo work. Okay, that's a good start. You still got 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. You got the floor, you got the roof, you got the foundation, the plumbing, the heating, the cooling, all that good stuff, all the way down to the studs. If they can complete the renovation over at MSNBC, maybe they'll be a respectable network. But right now, they're still pretty trash, as is the rest of mainstream media, in my humble opinion. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.